it's sort of like a fun little ride.
Yeah. I bring this next little anecdote, this story up from this past week because I think of you as like contemporaries, but I was talking to, of course, like has just millions and millions of streams like you do.
It will be hard work, but we're Canadian, and we're here to help. And it's our job as your government to do justice to that compassion and to that kindness that you show to one another each and every day. We can build a better world for our kids and grandkids. This is who we are. This is what we believe in. This
isolation breeds agitation unless you find a way to get some inspiration. Make a creation, film a claymation, or just eat chips and talk to friends while on PlayStation. Station.
This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, give me lyrics. For this song, for this song. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, give me lyrics. To the song, to the song. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. No shine, no shine, no lyrics, no lyrics. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. No shine, no shine, no lyrics, no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, give me lyrics. For this song, for this song. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, give me lyrics. For this song, for this song.
Maybe a rap part comes in here, I'm not sure, it's not clear. Maybe it would sound weird if we don't do a rap part. Maybe we do a verse that sounds similar to the first, so it would sound like this part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. No shine, no shine, no lyrics, no lyrics. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. No shine, no shine, no lyrics, no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, give me lyrics for this song, for this song.
Hey, I'm adequate Jeopardy player Austin Rogers. I want you guys to make sure that you watch There's Always Jeopardy every weeknight at 6:30 p.m.
Hello, welcome to There's Always Jeopardy with Pat and Jan. How you doing, Jan?
I'm okay, Pat. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Larry's going through something called the 8-month sleep regression.
Is that an actual thing or just a cool name that you've come up with?
No, I came up with some other names for it, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, he just he like wants to go to sleep, but then when you lay him down, he just wants to play. Like he's like, you put him down and he's like remembers that he can get up,
right?
And then he gets up and cries more, and then you lay him down, and then he gets up, and yeah, so he's just not sleeping really at all, which is just a fun time, just a real fun time.
That's something that always struck me as babies, not having any of my own, but formerly being one. You would think that you would just get tired and just like conk out, but babies don't do that.
Yeah. Well, now he eventually does. We put him in his crib until he falls over. And that's basically what happens, is he just cries and you flip him, then he gets up and cries, and then eventually he just goes, oh. And he's out. So that's what's going on over here. But again, I'm very thankful to have a baby right now because it fills the day. Sometimes with joy, sometimes with stress, but it fills the day.
It must really still feel like you're living life, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yesterday on Facebook, I did my Monday check-in and asked people what they're doing for comfort in this time. And some people told me they were watching Batman the Animated Series, which I think
that's a rough one.
And Ebony said that she's rewatching First Airbender, Avatar, or Last Airbender. So that sounds cool. And someone else told me that they're doing a lot of puzzles over video chat with their mom.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah. But that sounds like really tedious. Like you'd have to know that you're looking at the same piece, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, it sounds really weird and hard, but
I think if we're learning anything from this pandemic, it's how many puzz heads are out there.
Yeah, and people are becoming puzz heads. It's changing environment. It's a lot of companies are in trouble, but puzzle companies all of a sudden have exploded. Everyone's buying huge cars. Like Puzz King. Like, yeah.
Take that, Daryl from high school.
So, anything going on with you, Jan?
No.
Okay, cool. Yeah. You don't always have to have something going on all the time.
Yeah, no, nothing's going on. It feels like I'm quite, my days are occupied, they're full, but like today, I did just solidly sit on the couch for a very good 5 minutes and just kind of stare into space. Just being a bit overwhelmed by like just life in general. Yeah. And then my boyfriend came out and was like, "Are you okay?" And then I just went, "I'm allowed to have feelings."
You're absolutely allowed.
So not fun to live with me just at the moment, but.
Oh, that's fine. Everybody's up and down. This is the honesty that I'm looking for. I mean, if you're watching this show, you're at home and you feel like, am I allowed to have feelings? You are allowed to have feelings. Yeah. Especially now, you're going to have some that you don't even want to have.
Yeah.
Just have them.
Or you didn't know that you were capable of having them.
Yeah, like puzzles.
Like puzzles.
Yeah, you didn't know that you were into them, and now you are.
Now you're like, give me them puzzes.
Yeah, and then your puzz is taking too long to get to your house, and you're just so stressed out and upset. Puzzle feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, puzzle drama.
And you're trying to do a puzzle over video chat with your mom, and it's so hard, and you just get angry. You're allowed to have those feelings.
Yeah. Like, I really miss my mom, but, like, it's hard when she's like, my cell phone, there's something wrong with my cell phone. And normally my brother or I would just be like, well, the next time we see you, we'll fix it. But now it's just like a real long talk through. Like, oh, you want to know how you watch like the radio on television? Okay.
Let me see.
Remote.
So yesterday on this program right here, we had our boy Seth Wilson, and it was here just a little king.
King Larry.
We had our boy Seth Wilson on, and it was the end of his run.
Yes, it was very sad.
Yes, it was very sad. It was very sad to see him go. And then, so today we start a brand new collection on Jeopardy, the second collection, the Cindy Stoll collection, which is exciting. Now, we decided we're going to talk about this up front.
Yeah.
Cindy Stoll is no longer with us.
No.
She had like stage 4 cancer when she went on Jeopardy, and she actually died like a week before her episodes aired, which is sad. But I think it's kind of beautiful that they're sharing her episodes on Netflix, right? That they're not like, let's skip these ones. You know what I mean? Like she was there, she did it, she did great, and we're gonna go through them. We're just gonna spend a lot of time making fun of Cindy Stoll.
Yeah. But what a lovely tribute. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know, we've talked to Seth, we've talked to a few other people, your brother, our friend Jeremy, about how difficult it is to get on Jeopardy. Mm-hmm. And then not only to get on Jeopardy, but win several times, like a number of times. And like if that's your tribute, like, holy cow, you worked hard to get to that place. Like I would be like, that's from the rooftops. I'd be shouting that, you know?
Absolutely. I also wanted to say that I think his name is Tim, the person that she dethroned in this episode. He had just won 7 episodes.
Yes.
And he's looking real cocky. He's looking real cocky off the top there.
Oh, yeah, look at him.
Which is fine. I mean, we celebrated as we watched Seth start to look more and more confident as his run went on. But it's a weird, crazy feeling to watch this episode and right from the beginning know that this guy's going down. You know what I mean? Because then you're reading his face in a different way.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I'd turn that down a notch. There's my baby.
He's adorable, young Larry. But it was really interesting because as we were saying, like yesterday when we were watching Seth's last episode, to see this guy's last episode, but know that it's the start of a run for someone else.
Yeah.
Because she played very like, she was a bit of a sneak. Like she kind of like, she really snuck in there. And I really enjoyed watching Cindy play.
Yeah, that's true. She seemed really like meek. And then she had that like $6,000 daily double. And it was like, oh, this is turning around now.
Yeah. This is like when you see in the movies where somebody's like, I don't know how to play pool. And then they just run the table.
Yeah, it was a lot like that. We also have a very special guest today. If you're watching this because you're a Jeopardy fan at all, there's a good chance that you already know about this guy. Another super big 12-episode winning champ. I think he's the 7th most winningest Jeopardy player, and I'm sure he'll correct me if I get that wrong. But we're super excited to have him. I think we're going to show a little video package before we bring him out. But ladies and gentlemen, Austin Tyler Rogers.
A bartender from New York, Austin Rogers. Austin, as you can tell, is a lot of fun as our champion.
Yes, sir. Simple synonym for 200, please. Who is Napoleon Bonaparte?
You picked the right one.
Who is Adonis?
Adonis is the one.
What is a chimney sweep?
You figured it out correctly.
What is grandson?
Yes.
Who is Scooby-Doo? What is Rice Krispies? Who are the Eagles?
You don't like the Eagles? All right. Less than a minute now.
No. What is a Tootsie Roll?
That's right.
I need this.
Where did you get to be so smart?
Genetics, luck, karma.
School? No.
School. Nah.
And now, a total of 278,300 for 7 days. Most impressive.
Hi.
There he is.
Hi, guys. Hi, Jen and Pat. How are you guys doing?
Great. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. I have lost weight.
You were gorgeous then. You're gorgeous now.
Thank you. I've lost weight and lost hair. I fluctuate rapidly and dramatically in both of those factors.
Well, I think you look great.
Thank you very much. You guys look great too. Where is everyone, by the way? I don't even know this.
We're in
We're
Toronto.
both in Toronto.
Ah, okay.
You're
Good.
from New York City, is that right?
I am currently in Yo vivo en el barrio. I live in the Spanish Harlem neighborhood of Manhattan, and we are currently sitting through a thunderstorm.
Oh yeah, it's a little ugly outside today, but not a thunderstorm.
No, it was crackling a little bit earlier. But it's nice and cozy in here, not like there's anywhere else to go.
That's right. You got to stay in.
Yep.
Yeah, true that. We've found that it's easier than ever to book people for things. Sitting at home.
Yeah, that's good for you, because I'm having a terrible time finding people for my my podcast, which is not. I'm on like an indefinite hiatus right now because we always did them in person,
Right. Yeah.
and now so many people are like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to, but can we do it in person? Because we like the chemistry like that better." So I'm like sort of on a hiatus right now. Hopefully, I'll get to restart it sometime soon, but other things are happening, so all's good.
I listened
happening.
to some episodes of your podcast. I listened to your interview with Trebek.
Oh, that was absolutely amazing. I had no idea that it was just something I wanted to do. And I thought it would be done at the studio. And then when we got the email, my producers and I got the email saying, yeah, go to his house. How's next week sound? And I'm like, guess I'm on a flight to LA. Flew out to LA and went into his house, got a tour of the Chez Trebek, as it were. Met his lovely wife, sat in his study, went on a tour of his garage. It was absolutely amazing, above and beyond. And he's exactly who you think he's going to be. Down to earth, hardworking.
Yeah.
And a little bit of an edge.
He was talking more about home renovations than I had imagined.
Oh, that was the goal.
Right?
Yeah.
That was the goal. We didn't want to talk about Jeopardy, and God forbid the big C word. Didn't want to talk about that at all. So we sort of said, what do you want to talk about? And I said, you love home renovation. He goes, I'd love to talk about that. And then he's like, I also love traveling. I'm like, cool, done. No Jeopardy. If you want Jeopardy, that's all public knowledge. There's thousands of interviews with him. If you want to talk about his advocacy for cancer and stuff, tons of interviews. We're talking about something completely unknown, unnew, and everything. And it was awesome. It was so great because, he greeted me at the door. He's like, yeah, let's get this thing on the road. And then I'm like, oh man. And then the second I pulled out my microphones, actually this exact microphone, he goes, cool microphones. I'm like, you ready to go? He's like, let's do this. And I'm like, there he is. It was. Then I realized it was 7:45 in the morning. So there was a little low energy. I was high energy because I was like, I'm going to Alex Trebek's house.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, come on in.
Did you use the bathroom?
I did not use the bathroom.
Well, that's all we wanted to know was what his bathroom was like.
Thanks so much for coming on. And
I'll see you guys later. How do you mute this?
I thought it was really interesting that he said that I guess his answer every time when someone asks him what else he would like to do besides Jeopardy is either be the Governor General of Canada or the Pope, which you have to do different. You have to live a very different life to be the Pope.
Yeah. I think the Pope train has left the station for that sort of one. Also, the not being Catholic part might have something to do with that.
I also listened to just the part of your episode with Buzzy Cohen.
Oh, Buzzy's awesome. I love Buzzy. He's great.
You started to talk about how the strategy of Jeopardy really has to do with the buzzer, but also that everybody on Jeopardy basically knows 90% of the answers. So the key is either the buzzer or finding those other 10%. And I just wondering if you could just talk about that a little bit, because that was really—
I mean, that is absolutely it. If, Jan, Pat, and I, if we were sitting up there and we all got on the lectern, that means we passed. That means we tested. That means we passed all their metrics. And I think if we were given that 50 question test, the three of us probably got between 46 and 49 to get on the show. Mm-hmm. So who got 46 and who's going to get the other 4? That's really the question. And then if we all are going to be hitting 47, 48, 49 out of 50 every single time, can't get in if you can't get in. You can't get the money if you can't buzz. So that was the X factor. That was what I was most nervous about. And in the regular season, it turned out I didn't really have to be nervous about it. I had a rhythm, and I think that came through training. I literally spent the 3 to 4 weeks before I was going on the show with a calisthenic thumb exerciser in my hand the entire time. Even if I wasn't watching back episodes of Jeopardy, I was just going like this. Bip, 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 bip. If I was walking somewhere, I'd find an old episode of Jeopardy, who knows, 80s, 90s, whatever, put it on my headphones, and I'd walk 20 or 30 blocks to where I was going rather than ride my bike or take the subway, and I'd walk listening to an episode of Jeopardy with the thumb exerciser in my hand, because it's 99% of the time, other than a video daily double, it's a completely auditory game. You can listen to Jeopardy. So I'm listening to Jeopardy, walking around saying, what is Agincourt? What is Notre Dame? What is this? What is that? And then when I got home, I'd watch like 3 or 4 back episodes in random orders with that little thumb exerciser in my hand, because they don't tell you exactly how it works. But if you sort of get the rhythm of it, it becomes second nature. Exactly how it works is the very last syllable of the clue activates 2 giant lights on the side of the game board, indicating that your buzzer is now active. So so what you do is, across the studio hall, you see the giant game board, you say, French cathedrals for 400, and you read it. You read it faster than Trebek can say it. So you've already read it, you've processed it, and you're just waiting for him to say the final syllable of the final sentence. And you can even start to anticipate his cadence. Da-da-ba-da-ba-da, da-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da, in France. And all you're waiting for is in France, because you've read the whole thing, you've processed it, you're like, all right, finish it up. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, in France, buzz.
Yeah, so this has to be ahead of the game.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be good at this. I really don't know. And I'm like, oh, okay. First game. I'm actually pretty decent at this. I must have had, I wasn't playing against the major leagues. I had mediocre contestants against me. Second game, I'm like, uh-oh. Third game, I'm like, okay, no. I'm going to sound like a dickhead right now, but I'm like, this is disturbingly easy. Am I doing something right, or is everyone doing something wrong, or am I actually good at this? And then by the fourth game, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm actually good at this. Whee! And you can watch the progression where I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm getting a little sure. And like you were saying before the break, this guy's got to get taken down a notch. He's getting a little cocky right now, and he knows his reign is over. But you do get a little cocky because you're like, this is actually sort of, am I good at this?
Yeah, for sure. And you were saying that you would study the questions that nobody got, like to sort of figure out what topics sort of made up the other 10% for everybody, right?
Yeah, I would pay very close attention to, They're called triple stumpers in the Jeopardy parlance. By the way, one thing I never knew before going on Jeopardy was how much vocabulary and metrics and all this stuff all the Jeopardy fans have. They're like, well, his Coriant scores. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And like, that was a triple stumper. I'm like, I could infer what it means, but I didn't know there was like a nomenclature for it. So I keep track while I was watching all these back episodes. I would not keep track of how many I got right. I'd keep track of how many I got right that no one else in the episode I was watching got right. So I'd be like, if I were playing right now up here, I would have plus 7,000 on everyone because I got two $2,000 questions and one $1,000 question and two $500. So I keep track of how many I got right that no one else got. And I'd say, okay, even if this were a close game, I'd have $7,000 more. And through most of my run, that metric sort of held true. That's where the real gains are. In those zero-sum questions of, I get the $2,000 questions that you could not answer, and I get 3 of them, game's over.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. That was once I was ever down in going into Double Jeopardy, I'm like, I literally didn't care because I'm like, all the money's on Double Jeopardy, both daily doubles and all the big money. So even I don't know if I was ever negative going into Single Jeopardy, but I was definitely going into Double Jeopardy. But I think there was 1 or 2 times I was at 0 or 200 because I made some crazy stupid bet, got it all wrong, shrugged it off and said, Double Jeopardy's up ahead. I can win the game Double Jeopardy.
It feels that way when you're watching the show. You do kind of sit there and go this first half is almost negligible because you can really just make it up in the second half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Unless you're, James, in which case you just nail it down out of the ballpark in the first round. So then the second round is play money rather than the first round is play around, get your feet wet and then go for the throat in the second round. His was more like go for the throat in the first round and then mess around in the second round. See what happens.
Make some bucks.
I think that we got to wrap up here, but is there anything that you want to plug while you're here?
Absolutely. I would love for you guys, present company included, and any listeners, every Wednesday, I am now in my regular day-to-day non-COVID influenced life, I host pub quizzes at bars around the city. Obviously, I can't do that, so I've turned it virtual. And every Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on my YouTube live channel, I host a trivia fundraiser for some of the bars I work for. And it's pretty simple. You just Venmo me some money, some $10 entry fees, get together in teams, and then I ask you questions. You turn in the answers. We grade them. I give away prizes. Tomorrow night's sponsored by Sam Adams. So this is a real deal, real legit. If you want to follow me on Austin Tyler Rogers on Facebook, that's where the whole invite is, and it tells you all the directions on how to sign up and yada, yada, yada. Or you could go to my Instagram, Augra27, AUGRA27, or I also tweet it, Austin Tylero. It's right there. See it right there? There it is. You can actually see it right there. So that's really exciting. And each week I've been getting, not like I was bad at it, but each week I've been getting more proficient on the tech end of it. So my production values keep going up and up. And we've got about 35, 40 teams playing every Wednesday. So it's super competitive. And I'm really excited about it. So check that out on Wednesdays. And then coming up soon in the forthcoming feature, date TBD, my book comes out, which is all on how to put together and host the world's best pub quiz, including hundreds and hundreds of questions that I wrote myself in my 15 years of pub quiz hosting, many of which helped me on Jeopardy. So this is, in a way, a subversive backdoor Jeopardy study guide, because it's also got stories on how to prep for Jeopardy, how to prep for your interviews for Jeopardy, because that's one of the big things that no one really gets. They're like, I'm so smart. Why can't I do it? I'm like, well, because you're an appellate attorney who wears pleated khakis. But that's coming out forthcoming, hopefully soon. But in the meantime, Wednesdays, go to my YouTube channel. It's Austin Tyler Rogers. My Facebook channel, Austin Tyler Rogers. My Twitter, Austin Tyler Rogers. And check all this out. And I'd love for as many people as possible to come play, because all your donations go to New York City bar staffs who are out of work and semi-unemployed pub quiz hosts.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
There's Dan there, and then there's Dan, and there's Pat. Dan and Jan and Pat, thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Hey, we had so much fun talking to Austin Tyler Rogers. You want to say the rest? Okay, we're going to check in for the rest tomorrow.
I'm Seth Wilson. Be sure to watch There's Always Jeopardy at 6:30.
Although it was not a runaway for Seth in yesterday's game, he was.
Here's the thing. Right now is tomorrow. It's today, and that aired yesterday, making today tomorrow, which means now is part 2 in about 3 minutes.
Isolation. Stay away from all the
3.
But we're Canadian, and we're here to help. And it's our job as your government to do justice to that compassion and to that kindness that you show to one another each and every day. We can build a better world for our kids and grandkids. This is who we are. This is what we believe in. This is Canada.
isolation breeds agitation unless you find a way to get some inspiration. Make a creation, film a claymation, or just eat chips and talk to friends while on PlayStation. Station.
This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, for this song, for this song. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, to the song, to the song. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. No shine, no lyrics, no lyrics. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. No shine, no lyrics, no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, for this song, for this song. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, for this song, for this song.
Maybe a rap part comes in here. I'm not sure, it's not clear. Maybe it would sound weird if we don't do a rap part. Maybe we do a verse that sounds similar to the first. So it would sound like
this part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. No shine, no lyrics, no lyrics. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. This part is where the verse goes. No shaggy, no lyrics, no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. This song has no lyrics, has no lyrics. Give me lyrics, for this song.
And now for part 2 of the Austin Tyler Rogers special.
Folks, ridiculous. That was the word uttered by Tim Aiden at the end of yesterday's program, when after all three contestants had missed Final Jeopardy, he was the one with the most money. Right now, I want to welcome Cindy and Garrett to the program, wish all three of you good luck, and put you to work right now in the Jeopardy round.
Hey everybody, welcome to There's Always Jeopardy! And now you're about to see part 2 of the Austin episode.
Nice.
I remember watching your run, Austin, and it was so fun to watch it because it looked like you were having fun. And
it was fun.
I think part of the thing about Jeopardy is you see so many Jeopardy contestants, like the audience isn't very vocal. Like it's not a game show where people are cheering, right? And I think part of your like kind of specialness for me watching you was you were just like, you were dancing, you were like moving around, you dropped the buzzer, it's fine. Like you just seemed like a cool guy to party with.
That's okay. So full disclosure, before going on Jeopardy, I hadn't watched Jeopardy since the 90s. I just didn't. I had jobs that took me away from it. Just the whole thing. I watched this as a kid, my entire growing up, and I even watched it a little bit during college. But basically, from like 1999 to like 2 years ago, I pretty much didn't watch Jeopardy. So, of course, I knew what it was, and it's ingrained, and blah blah blah. It's a cultural institution. How can you not know? But the whole gravitas thing just wasn't part of my cultural makeup because I remembered it as the fun thing that my brothers and I used to yell at as kids. It's that, it's this, it's that. Got you, mom, beat you, dad, that kind of thing. So when it was time to go on, I was like, oh yeah, this is fun. I didn't know it was like golf.
Well, and the other thing is people made such a huge deal of you being a bartender.
Yeah.
Right? Like they were like the bartender from New York City. And I always thought that was so interesting too, because would you care to speak to that? Like, did you feel like, like, what do they think bartenders are? Yeah,
well, that's one thing that's pretty fucking insulting. They're like, the funniest is people like, so how do you know those things? Did you go to college? I'm like, no, I didn't. I sprung like Athena, fully armed with stupid facts like Zeus's head. I don't know. No, of course I went to college. I went to a better college than you did, sir. Because he probably went to Duke. Duke sucks. Oh, no, I could say that because Duke actually sucks. But you know, I think part of the resonance was you said the bartender thing, and I get why that resonated because there's a lot of people who have a lot of less prestige-y jobs, ones that don't entail having degrees, and it's wrong to. Well, we're seeing it right now. Who are the heroes of the current situation we're in? It's both doctors and nurses, highly esteemed, educated, trained people, and then the people on the ground doing real stuff, construction and driving trucks and delivering things and cooking our food. So frankly, it's the middle management people in the middle who are like, did you go to college? Who are the worst. Like, that's who society should call. Bring on the revolution. Down with middle management.
If you start singing Do You Hear the People Sing?
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. I think one of the things that resonated was the bartender thing because I am a bartender. That is my job. But if you asked me 5 years ago, it would have been digital advertising copywriter. Different ring. If you asked me 10 years ago, it would have been corporate events planner. Different ring. You know? So just because of my stage in life where I was suit and tie, Fortune 500 events, and I was on Park Avenue, and I was dealing with literally Rupert Murdoch and the Rockefellers and Pervez Musharraf, the president of Pakistan, and Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. These are all people who were my clients in a corporate events planning thing. Okay? Shaved, short haircut, literally tie every day. And then I worked in advertising and, you know, whatever. And then those jobs dried up and I didn't have them anymore. And I just fell into bartending, mostly because I'm an alcoholic. And but I think that's sort of what resonated with people, that it was a little bit different. And I'm actually happier now as myself. The way I put it is, if I never had Jeopardy and I just ended up being this bartender, I'd still be well happier than those other 15 years of suit and tie careers.
That's cool.
That's great.
Let's talk about this episode that we're watching here. First of all, we were talking a lot about jobs. I thought it was really interesting that Cindy Stoll was called a science contest developer. Sounds like an interesting job. So the categories were last names the same, all about animals, that's a Greek letter, alliteration, Georgia, and holiday duets. Any categories there that would get either of you excited?
I think name's the same. I like those kind of ones.
Yeah, it's a very easy category. Or I found it anyway.
I don't remember this episode. I don't think I ever watched any of Cindy's episodes, because I think it was at the time because we were the same season, I think. I'm not sure. So I don't think I got time to watch. I think her episodes aired while mine were taping, I think.
I feel like you guys were close.
I had only made it up to X. Again, I was watching background episodes to study in random orders, but I hadn't made it up far enough into the current episodes because I didn't have them at easy access, as easier as I could get ones 5-7 years back.
Right.
And also, there's 200 some odd episodes a season. So me watching 500 or 600 episodes spread over a 15-year period means likelihood of me seeing someone on Jeopardy is minuscule if I'm just picking random ones out of the hat. But we did wear, I totally missed her whole story and everything again, because I don't really watch Jeopardy. So I didn't know how invested fans get with people's backstories and returning champions and stuff like that. I had completely alien to me. So when I showed up to the Tournament of Champions, my regular season shows had not aired before I taped the Tournament of Champions.
Oh, wow.
So they weren't even allowed to say what my total and dollar value was on air at the Tournament of Champions, because the audience didn't know yet, because I haven't aired yet. So everyone on my Tournament of Champions knew one another, knew what their records were, knew what their totals were, and knew who they were going up against. But all they knew was that there was one more guy who hasn't aired yet who's coming into your Tournament of Champions. So I was like an interloper in like two separate ways. One, I was an unknown quantity to them because I hadn't aired. And two, everyone there was sort of injected into the Jeopardy community already. So they already knew all these lores and backstories and nomenclatures and stuff like that. So I felt like a true outsider when I showed up. And then they're like, oh, we're wearing our pins and ribbons for Cindy Stoll. And I go, I don't know who that is, and I feel really bad about this. And then they sat me down. They're like, okay, here's her story, and here's what happened. And I'm like, oh, absolutely. Yes, let's all wear these pins and ribbons. This is a great cause. But I felt a little bit embarrassed that I had to be briefed on that, because I don't follow the arcana lore and storyline of the show that well.
Well, as a fan favorite, which, I think you are, do you, you must know that people choose who they want to win as they're sitting and watching at home, right?
I mean,
I feel like people must have really been rooting for you. And I think living in a place like New York City, did you just come back to hey, Austin, people yelling from their cars?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The taxis go by, hey, Jeopardy! Jeopardy! Because if I got the hair and the beard on, they see enough and they'll just be like, and then it's like, are you? And I'm like, I don't know, am I? But then the cool thing was finding out bars in Brooklyn, who for years have had Jeopardy watchings every single day with like a cabal of like 15 people who meet every day. And then they find there's actually one of their own on it. So I was finding out about these bars that like were like really well invested in my story and my run, because they're like, we watch in a bar every Sunday, every day, and now there's a bartender on. So that was really happy too. And then the other happy thing is I do work at a bar, and I'm immensely privileged to have that, because you can't go visit Ken. He's a writer.
Yeah, right.
You know, you can't visit James. He does his own thing. But you can visit me. You can literally come to New York, Google Austin Rogers Bar, and the first thing that comes up is Gaff West on 48th Street, and people come in, and the second someone comes in, I go, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yep. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Because you could just tell from a mile away.
We were talking to Seth Wilson yesterday, and he said that
Seth's awesome.
That one of the things he wants to do after the pandemic is go to your bar.
Please.
Yeah.
Please, we could use the money.
I said we should all go, and then Seth said that we could probably all just stay at your place.
Yeah, it's a 1-bedroom, so no.
We're okay.
So it's a 1-bedroom in Manhattan, so double no.
So bring our sleeping bags. Got it. We'll be there. One of the categories I loved in this was holiday duets. And it's funny because we were talking to Seth, because Pat and I are always like, oh, this is such low-hanging fruit, these pop culture ones. And to Pat's point, it's like, but Jeopardy players don't always have that same information. And Seth was calling it yesterday like trash trivia, because it's like, it's not highbrow, like people who like play, what was he saying, Pat, like college bowls or whatever. They find that the pop culture is like a lower form of trivia. But today, I think it was Cindy, didn't know the title Little Drummer Boy.
That's
and
right.
To me, I was like, that's just so ingrained in my psyche. And maybe she didn't celebrate Christmas, but those
but
questions.
You don't know David fricking Bowie and Bing Crosby? Come on!
That's what I'm saying. So
the king is born. He's on earth. It's so cheesy. It's so awesome.
I love it.
I'll quickly go through the double Jeopardy categories. That old time religion, no Stan Lee cameo, another super easy category. Books of the 1930s, military at home, lesser known historic names, to the nth degree, which was words ending in THE, and 2000. Oh yeah. Sorry, that's all of them.
Was it military at home?
Yes,
Yeah.
military at home. Yeah.
I mean, there's a pretty broad overlap with white dudes in military history, and I am definitely thoroughly in that ballpark. So like you always think like you're like, oh, military history, I'll kill that round, and then you realize if you're up against any other white dude who qualified for Jeopardy, he's probably in the same ballpark. So you might actually want to stay. That's actually counterintuitive. You might want to stay away from that one until you have to. If there's other white dudes with beards up there on the dais, because they're probably going to be like, Rommel, George Patton, Ambrose Burnside.
Well, this was so interesting because I think it was this episode, I can't remember which half, but one person just kept going back to the same category where nobody was getting anything. And I was just like, why wouldn't you just pick a new category? But maybe that's...
Yeah, no, absolutely. Why would you do that? I mean, because I've been in many games where you'd just be like, nope, staying away from that. Like sometimes you can just tell when the category title comes up and you're like, oh yeah, that's the poison one. That's the writers were bored and got a little too clever and they're trying something new. Nope, I know. And then you just wait. You just wait for someone else to be foolhardy enough, cocky enough, or God forbid, dumb enough to go for that category, and you let them throw a couple of those out as the sacrificial lamb before you can swoop in once you finally get what they're going for. Because rarely is anything ever explained. It's real. It's just like, Bees the knees. Okay, so it's going to have bee in it, but it's going to be about people's knees? Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Like To the Nth Degree was one of those where you're like, I guess I'll catch up with this. Okay, on this show we do sort of a deep dive into the contestant stories. So we're going to take a look at these stories, and then we'll talk to you about how you felt giving a story every day for your whole run was like.
Awesome. Let's take a look.
Sydney Stoll is from Austin, Texas, and this young lady enjoys viewing really bad movies. Give me some examples.
Oh, well, in college, a friend of mine started a club where we rented out a lecture hall and a projector and a classroom, and we watched such delights as the Transformers cartoon movie was pretty bad. You Got Served, also really bad. I mean, there are movies, though, that you can talk through during and kind of share the misery with others. So.
Oh, good. That's a great way to socialize, isn't it? All right, Garrett Levenbrook is from Montclair, New Jersey. He's a food executive, and it says here that you recently proposed, and it was a risky venture.
Yes, that's right. So, some background. There's a game sweeping the country called Escape the Room, and the purpose of which is to solve a series of clues in order to get out of a room you're locked in for an hour. My fiance now and I are very into that game, so I integrated the engagement proposal into the game, whereby the final clue led to the engagement ring. But it was very risky because we almost didn't get out, and so I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah, you leave yourself in a precarious situation. Yes. But it worked.
Yes, it did.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Tim Ayton is our champion. You've won 7 games now, and every time you win, you don't get particularly excited. It's, oh gosh, I won again. How am I going to deal with this? What excites you? What are some of the things in your life that really gets you?
Sleep, ice cream, some music.
Okay. That's a lot of energy from our champion. Okay, Garrett, you get to make the next selection.
All right, let's do Animals for 1,000, please.
What do you guys think?
I feel like Tim was kind of the anti-Seth, the anti-Austin and Seth, where both of you guys just had like so charming, so much personality, and Alex is just like,
yeah,
anything?
let me extricate myself from this. The funniest is just standing up there and like, well, my fiance and I met while collecting stones that look like a certain species of aardvark, and he'll be like, you live a sad life, and they'll be like, wait a second, because the Trebek neg is like devastating, because like it's said with the smile, then the turn and the wink to the audience, and then the walk away, and you don't realize till it airs that he just slayed you. He took you down.
Yeah, he loves to do that.
He can be very brutal, and I love it. I love nothing more than okay.
Yeah.
Walk away.
Fine then. You're strange, and that's why I've got 16 feet separating us. Oh, sorry, Canadians. That's why I've got meters separating us.
We just say a hockey stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I've got 4 hockey sticks separating us.
Sydney's story, pretty simple. A bad movies club.
Transformers is not, well, maybe my childhood sucks.
No. I was just going to make the same point. I wouldn't put Transformers the movie in a bad movie club.
I remember it being awesome.
Yeah. Her and I had different tastes. That's fine. And then the next story, what I want to know is this the beginning of escape rooms, or is he talking about like a home board game or something?
No, he's talking about the escape the rooms, right?
Yeah.
He's like telling it to Alex like you probably have never heard of it. You know what I mean? But I guess this is like 2014. Was escape rooms not big yet?
I think they were, right? Weren't they? I mean, maybe he's like assuming he's some sort of hip urbanite who's dialed in on all the coolest shit, and he's like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's called Jaeger bombs.
Yeah, and then Tim just straight up out of stories at this point. He's
I like sleeping.
Here, I guess I haven't seen his run, but he's He's in its 8th episode, and he was just like, I don't know. Ask me what excites me.
Pat, Jan, I got ones that didn't even make it that are still on the cutting room floor that I was like, no, he didn't ask about this one. He didn't ask about this one. No. Because you don't choose them. Trebek chooses them.
Right.
Yeah. So what you do is, all right, you come prepared with, in your questionnaire. So there's like your audition questionnaire is something on the order of 16 pages. And in there is career, loved ones, family members, education, challenges. It's like a job application kind of thing. And then they say, if you're on the show, what are, give us 3 to 5 little anecdotes. And then while you're sitting down in the green room ahead of time, Caruana will usually come up to you and she'll be like, okay, you've written 5. Alex is going to pick from these 3. So be prepared with the one about your dog, the one about your aardvark rocks, and the one about your escape room. And you go, cool, gotcha. And then if you come back, like if you do 3 games, he's got the 3 of them. But if you come back, they go, yeah, on your way home, you're coming back tomorrow. Can you email us another like 5 or 6 just in case? Just in case. Well, I needed to do that.
Yeah, right.
And then on my way home, they're like, can you email me a couple 5 or 6? Well, I needed to do that. So I'm like, oh, cool. More stories. So I never really ran out of them. And there were a couple of them. I'd have to watch all my episodes to see which stories I told, but there were a couple of stories that I'm like, please ask me about this one. Please ask me about this one. And he never did. I think I had a really good story for what would be my last episode, but during the commercial break, a judgment was made in my favor. So instead of giving me my chit chat, Alex said something along the lines, and a returning champ, Austin, you'll be happy to know that your question blah, blah, blah was ruled correct. All right, let's move on. So I never got to do whatever my last story was in my regular season. I believe, if I'm remembering that correctly, that was the game I lost in.
But you don't remember what stories were cut out or that they didn't get to?
No, I don't. And I don't remember. I remembered being really disappointed, not in losing, but in not being, I didn't care that I lost. I cared that I didn't get to tell whatever story it was I had on the burner then.
But you felt like you had no shortage, like you could just keep giving them stories.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, if I went back tomorrow, I'd be like, how many you want? You want to do this? Let's go.
Yeah, for Seth, that seemed to be a stress for him to continuously get more stories.
That was stressed for him? Oh, yeah, no. Way too much stupid shit's happening.
This guy's lived a life.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. And the final Jeopardy question of this episode was the second most populated city in Cuba. Also has the same name as a South American continent. And they're both named after St. James. What is it? And
I did not get this.
Wait, a South American continent?
No, sorry, capital. Sorry, not continent. Capital. They're both referring to St. James, it says. I could say what it is, but if you want.
No, I give up Santiago.
Santiago.
That's exactly it.
That was it. That was my Hail Mary.
Yeah.
That's what happens all the time too.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. You go, I don't know. And you say something, and that was the thing, never read Reddit. Everyone's like, is he doing this just to finagle all of us and do some histrionics in an act? No, you literally go blank, 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 blank. I have no idea. Santiago, sure, cool, whatever. And
right.
Turns
They're not
out
taking away points for wrong answers.
Yeah, but there was obviously an educated guess in that because I just pinged around South America really fast, and Santiago sounded like it worked because it did.
Yeah, you see that sort of all the time on Jeopardy, where you just see the relief in somebody's face because the Hail Mary worked out, where they're like, but I guess people think that's what, just hustling?
Yeah, it's for real. People always thought, like, I remember everyone always thought that Alex Jacob was pausing for dramatic effect to throw his co-competitors off when he takes so long to get the daily double. But in reality, he was either A, formulating it, B, eliminating what's wrong, or C, had no idea and was Hail Marying it. I mean, your brain can only do so many things so quickly. I mean, obviously there are ones that come up and you're just like literally like, meh, whatever. Of course it's this. But other ones you're like, educated guess. It's not this, or this. So it must be that. And you just raise your arms and go, this? And cross your fingers. But then, if you get it wrong, a lot of people are like crestfallen, and that's the end of their game. And they're like, I can't break myself out of this. That's one of the mental hurdles of the game too. Yeah. There is no such thing as being wrong. There's just getting ready for the next answer. You're never actually wrong. You missed one. Now to the next one.
When you see somebody just give up.
Yeah.
You see it all the time watching Jeopardy. Like, it's just like, they're not ringing in. They're not, like, this look comes over their face and you're like, oh, they've already given up.
Yeah. I think that comes from looking at the scoreboard. That's the other thing. But I never knew what my scores were until a daily double came up or it was Final Jeopardy. That was it. The only time I ever knew what my score was, anywhere near what my score was when it was time to bet or wager. Otherwise, I'd be like, I have no idea what I have right now.
Yeah, you're just worrying about answering questions.
Yeah. Go, and don't let them have the ball. It's my ball. I play with it.
I think that we got to wrap up here, but is there anything that you want to plug while you're here?
Absolutely. I would love for you guys, present company included, and any listeners, every Wednesday, I am now in my regular day-to-day non-COVID influenced life, I host pub quizzes at bars around the city. Obviously, I can't do that, so I've turned it virtual. And every Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on my YouTube live channel, I host a trivia fundraiser for some of the bars I work for. And it's pretty simple. You just Venmo me some money, some $10 entry fees, get together in teams, and then I ask you questions. You turn in the answers. We grade them. I give away prizes. Tomorrow night, sponsored by Sam Adams. So this is a real deal, real legit. If you want to follow me on Austin Tyler Rogers on Facebook, that's where the whole invite is, and it tells you all the directions on how to sign up and yada, yada, yada. Or you could go to my Instagram, Augra27, AUGRA27, or I also tweet it, Austin Tylero. It's right there. See it right there? There it is. You can actually see it right there. So that's really exciting. And each week I've been getting, not like I was bad at it, but each week I've been getting more proficient on the tech end of it. So my production values keep going up and up. And we've got about 35, 40 teams playing every Wednesday. So it's super competitive. And I'm really excited about it. So check that out on Wednesdays. And then coming up soon in the forthcoming feature, date TBD, my book comes out, which is all on how to put together and host the world's best pub quiz, including hundreds and hundreds of questions that I wrote myself in my 15 years of pub quiz hosting, many of which helped me on Jeopardy. So this is, in a way, a subversive backdoor Jeopardy study guide, because it's also got stories on how to prep for Jeopardy, how to prep for your interviews for Jeopardy, because that's one of the big things that no one really gets. They're like, I'm so smart. Why can't I do it? I'm like, well, because you're an appellate attorney who wears pleated khakis. But that's coming out forthcoming, hopefully soon. But In the meantime, Wednesdays, go to my YouTube channel. It's Austin Tyler Rogers. My Facebook channel, Austin Tyler Rogers. My Twitter, Austin Tyler Rogers. And check all this out. And I'd love for as many people as possible to come play, because all your donations go to New York City bar staffs who are out of work and semi-unemployed pub quiz hosts.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
There's Dan there, and then there's Jan, and there's Pat. Dan and Jan and Pat, thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And tomorrow on the program, we have Terrence Palazzo and Patrick Palazzo. Patrick works at the liquor store. We wanted to have frontline workers on to talk about sort of what it's like out there. And Terrence, he makes his whole living from trivia, which is very fascinating. Like Austin here, he hosts trivia shows all over the city. And on Thursday nights, he does his trivia online. So they don't compete.
Yeah, so Wednesday, hang out with Austin. Thursday, hang out with Terrence.
And tomorrow, hang out with Terrence here on our show. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, quick tomato sauce update.
Thank God.
So, I accidentally ordered 8 jars of tomato sauce. We're slowly getting through them. I would say that I'm still at 6 and 2 half jars. Still don't know what to do with that nasty basil.
That basil is a nasty basil. I'm going to try and come up with some ideas.
Thanks for watching.
Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, I'm adequate Jeopardy player Austin Rogers. I want you guys to make sure that you watch There's Always Jeopardy every weeknight at 6:30 p.m.
Although it was not a runaway for Seth in yesterday's game.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching There's Always Jeopardy. Join us tomorrow when we have a couple of the Palazzo brothers on at 6:30 every day, every weekday. You can check us out right here. And also tonight at 8 p.m. on all of these channels, check out the DG Special Episode 4. We have Nikki Payne, K. Trevor Wilson, Brian Barlow, Ryan Belville, and Sebastian Siddiqui doing the news. And it's going to be a super fun show. So please join us back here, 8 o'clock. See you later. Peace.